everybody, and welcome to our live session as part of Connection Week 2025. We're really happy to see you all here, whether you're watching live or you're watching later on. It's really great to see you. So thank you for joining us today. I'm here with my wonderful colleague, Graeme. He is Head of Business Engagement. Would you like to introduce yourself, Graeme?
Thanks, Kate. Hello, Graeme Darby. I'm the Head of Business Engagement at the University of Suffolk. What that means effectively is that I try and provide the bridge between the university, either academics or students, and outside businesses, outside organizations. I think we recognize that sometimes the university isn't the easiest place to navigate around from the outside. And so if people are trying to find a student or an academic or have an issue that they want the university to deal with, then we are the start point. And at the end of the presentation today, or the discussion today, we'll show you how to get in touch with us.
That's brilliant, Graeme. Thank you for being here today. We work together quite a lot, don't we? And we're often talking about how businesses engage with the university, how our alumni can get involved in that as well. So this session's really going to cover all bases, really, isn't it? And give a general overview of what you and your team do at the university. And also, like you say, how people can get in touch and how they can work with you to benefit both themselves and their organisations. So do you want to tell us a bit about business engagement as a whole across the university?
I think there's obviously a very wide area that we try and cover. So perhaps just concentrate on a couple of things that we're working on at the present moment, because I think that they're probably the most relevant. The two things I think I'd like to talk about are one about apprenticeships, and the other is about something called experiential learning. And apprenticeships is very important to the university. We've offered apprenticeships for a number of years now, principally at level 4 and above, and level 6 degree level apprenticeships. Our plan for the next couple of years is to double the number of apprenticeships that we have at the university. So it's a very ambitious plan, a very aggressive plan in many respects, and we're looking forward to getting that underway. To do that, we're going to introduce a number of new standards, and each of the standards will be relevant to local businesses, and we're going to involve local businesses in the development of the curriculum for each of them. So if I give a couple of examples, the first is environmental health practitioner, which we're launching in September this year. And that is geared towards people working in the environmental health departments, principally of district councils, local councils. So to do that, we have a webinar which was taking place next week, which will go through the courses that will be on offer, what requirements we need for people to be part of that course, how it's going to operate, the delivery method, and everything that you need to recruit environmental health practitioners going forward. Separate to that, we're going to launch in September also environmental practitioner, which has similar title but a different focus. This is looking at the whole sustainability issue that we are all aware of because of the work we do, how we move towards net zero, and how we can provide students who are skilled in this area to help businesses to reach net zero over the next few years. Aside from that, we have supply chain management, which is every organization has supply chains, and understanding what's best practice and how it can be implemented is very important in terms of cost reduction, becoming more efficient, and we're starting that in September, as we are with project management. Every organization has projects they need to run, and again, there's a whole plethora of information about best practice, and we're going to put that together for level 4s from September. And coming down the track are a couple of very specific standards. One is construction site management, which does exactly what it says on the tin. It's about how you manage construction sites. And when we think about what's happening in our local economy with things like Sizewell going on, that's very relevant and will be for the next, probably for the next decade. And then finally, data scientist, which sounds a bit strange, but actually when we think about it, we're all using data to a much greater extent than we've ever done before. And how you use the data, how you collate it, how you present it, how you understand what its use is and how it can be more effective for your organization is turning into a whole new area. And we're only talking yesterday to people from BT who have departments of data scientists, because they recognise the data they're generating is hugely important to them, and they have to collate it and correct it in the right way. So these are all
so
that we are
interesting.
launching for next year,
Mhm.
and we're looking to work with employers to try and not only get the apprenticeships, but also looking to work with employers to help develop the courses. Because although we have to provide a certain degree of learning for all the students, how we deliver it, the delivery method, is effectively up to us. And so in conversations we're having with BT yesterday, we were talking about how would you like to see this delivered? Could it be an element of online? Could it be day release? Could it be block release? What is the best methodology for you as a business? And that's very much at the heart of what I try and do as business engagement, is provide the link between what the university wants to do, what the businesses want to do, and hopefully find a sensible compromise that will suit everybody from that perspective.
That's so interesting, thank you. And I think it really shows how the university is adapting, doesn't it, to the growing needs of the community around us, but also wider than that as well, and working with those businesses to deliver the courses that they're really asking for.
And I think that's the most important point, is that we don't live in a static society. Things are moving on all the time, and people want to learn in different ways. And apprenticeships is just another way of people learning. And if it can be put together in a very practical methodology to help local businesses at the same time, then there's a win-win situation for everybody. And obviously we want people to attend our degree courses, but we want people to come to apprenticeships as well, because it's just another way of getting to the same point, where the teaching and the learning is at the heart of what we do.
Fantastic. And so are these, what types of businesses are these that could contact you about apprenticeships?
Well, there's something called the apprenticeship levy, which is a levy put by the government on any business over a certain size. I think the threshold is £3 million of salary or wages. And if you above that threshold, then the levy is 0.5%, which if you do not use it to subsidize, to pay for an apprenticeship, it will go back to the government. So in some ways, it's a bit of an extra tax. You can avoid paying that extra tax by employing an apprentice. And what we want to do is work with those people to make sure that they're utilizing their apprenticeship levy. So that's one area. Second to that, we recognize that's only going to apply to certain businesses of certain sizes. We will work with smaller businesses through other departments within the university. The careers team in particular will work with startups. And they could be both student startups, but they could also be students who have gone on to be alumni and are still working on their businesses, and we will seek to help them as we possibly can. So effectively, that provides a pathway for the businesses to start from scratch, start small and develop, and then we can take them through that process as well.
So basically, any size business could contact the university and discuss different ways of working with you and perhaps other teams at the university as well, such as the careers team. Because we also do a lot of work around entrepreneurship in terms of startups, etc. as well, don't we?
Very much. And we're the University of Suffolk. We're here for the whole of Suffolk. And we want to actually appeal to people at whatever stage their business might be or their organization might be. We talk about businesses, but obviously applies to other external organizations as well. And if there are ways that we can help you, then we're here to try and do that.
Absolutely. And would you say there's a lot of interest in that? People, do we need to be raising more awareness around this kind of connection people can have with us?
Yes, I think that's a very fair point, and it's something we're working on at the moment. So, for example, we have a conference coming up on the 1st of July, which is the business solutions service that we're launching from the university, and we'll be inviting people to the conference, and it will be held at the university, when we'll explain in more detail what we're going to do on apprenticeships, and also our development plans for what's called experiential learning. So this is a very practical element of helping people learn a subject, but also give them experience of working in a business environment. We already do this in our clinical courses, so our nursing, midwifery, paramedics, where the students will have a period of theory at the university, and then they'll go on placements and work to put the theory into practice. We've recently launched something called TAP, which is the Technology Adoption Accelerator Program. We love an acronym at the university, but that's the latest one anyway.
You got there.
I got there, yes. point about this is to help organizations who are trying to adopt technology, and technology become very wide field, but any type of technology which serves a need, perhaps an opportunity, or overcomes a problem. So we had a business contact us to say that they're trying to implement Power BI, which anybody who uses Microsoft will be familiar with, and they need some help to do that. And we can provide a student for a 12-week period against a specific objective, implementation of Power BI in this case, to work with the organization over that period of time to reach a certain standard that the business is happy with and the student is happy with. And that's a win-win for everybody, because the student gets experience of working in a business, the business gets a solution to a particular problem, and the university wins because we're showing our students that we can provide not only the theory but also the practice, which is enriching the development of their career, for their career. So that program's up and running at the moment. It doesn't cost businesses anything. The university is funding it from that point of view. We pay the student a small fee for their work. And if people want to hear more about it, then obviously I'm very happy to talk about it from that point of view. But the whole essence of that is it provides this experiential learning as part of the student's course, so that they have more practical experience. And when they go out into the outside world, I nearly described as the real world, but I meant the outside world outside of the university, they've had that experience already. They're not going to be fazed by different things. And so therefore they'll be work ready effectively.
And that does appear to be what businesses are really asking us for right now, isn't it? To really help develop those very specific skills that people need to go straight into a job, to have the confidence to go straight into that job. And I think historically that's been missing from many university courses, as we know. So it sounds really fantastic that you're really trying to encourage that into each course.
I think that plays to the point that we as the university, I think we describe ourselves as a very practical university. Yes. We try and provide people with the skills that are going to be required when they get out into the business or different organizations. Because I think the days of just providing the theory and then seeing how it works when they get outside, I think they're gone. And so as part of what we talked about before about changing society, we have to recognize that the skills we give to people have to be more practically orientated now. Yeah. And I think that we're one of the leaders from that perspective. And we see that from the feedback we get from students when they get to do the jobs afterwards. What we provided them when they were part of our student cohort has been very helpful from that perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And really just to say that, yes, we do this for our students, but it also continues after you graduate as well. So we continue to support our graduates who may feel they need to develop in those skills as well. And our careers team is so active with working with our alumni community on various different things, whether it is around you starting up your own business, etc., and giving you all the advice and guidance you might need about that. It can also be about a networking thing, can't it? It can be about getting people together, discussing their ideas and taking things forward.
And very much so that we work very closely with the Federation of Small Businesses, which is principally the smaller business, the startups, the one-man bands. We work very closely with the Chamber of Commerce, which is primarily for the larger businesses. So even though you may have left the university, we're never going to let you go, by the way. You're always going to be part of our university in that respect. Even though you may have left, we can signpost you to people who can help you from that perspective. Either will have business knowledge that you may require, or frankly, just network in terms of understanding, do you know anybody who could supply this for me or could help me in this particular area? That's part of our role here, because the university is not only here just from a very basic teaching environment, but we describe ourselves as a civic university. We're part of the community. Yeah. And this is about helping the community grow, whether you're an alumni, and hopefully you are, and want help, or you're outside the alumni network, but we'll still point you in the right direction and we'll still help you get to where you want to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a really, really important thing to say. And I think it's really, would you say just the best way to contact you and your team would be the Engage email address that we've had up on the screen?
Yes, I think that, as I said at the beginning, we see our role as being the start point, so that if we can help you, we will. But if it's not, it's outside our area of expertise, we'll know who you need to talk to within the university, and we'll try and direct you to those people. And hopefully then we can, once we've done that, we can then move you on to the next stage, because we see this as being sort of an iterative process where you're not just coming to us for one thing, you're coming back when you want to move on to the next stage of whatever your business is or whatever your organization development is.
And it's also that you might not actually know what you want from the university at that point as well of contact. So sometimes it's just good to have like an email such as the one on the screen right now to just contact and have a discussion about what's the right area for you to engage with, whether that's some of the different events, some of the events that Graeme's just mentioned he's got coming up, but there are all sorts of different things happening in and around the university. So do keep an eye on our events web pages as well. And just come along to some different things, because there's always some fascinating people there to meet, isn't there? Inviting our businesses along to those things as well.
It seems a truism to say, but you will always learn something when you come to the university, and whether it's a network event or whether it's one of the lectures or whatever the case may be. And we do a lot of research at the university in many different subjects. And if you go to the website, you'll find what the areas of research that we're currently working on. And sometimes that can help organizations. At the very least, it will give you a direction as to what we think is important, particularly from a business perspective, things like sustainability, how that's going to affect businesses into the future. So we've always got something to talk about, certainly.
Absolutely. But also to any large businesses out there that want to contact us, can you tell me about maybe some of the ways you work with some of the larger employers in Suffolk?
Well, one of the things that we are always looking at to try and understand more is the skills gaps we have within Suffolk. So we work very much with the Suffolk Business Board, with the County Council, with larger employers like Sizewell, and they are all pretty good at determining what sort of skills they're going to require going forward. So some of the apprenticeship standards that we will put together will be to address those particular needs. I mentioned construction site management. I mean, Sizewell is going to be built over the next 10 years, and that's going to need a lot of people working in the construction industry. And that's something that skills gap that we can address, but not just in construction, in other areas as well. I mentioned about environmental practitioner. That's another apprenticeship which we think is going to become much more common and much more required in years to come. So the dialogue we have with the businesses is about understanding what their needs are going to be, which we can then bring back into the organization and say, we need to be looking at these areas because this is what people are telling us we're going to have a problem with. Environmental health practitioner, which is most of them are employed by local councils. There is a complete mismatch between the supply and demand for this particular role. There is a really big demand for environmental health practitioners, and there are not enough people coming through the training programs. So by offering an apprenticeship, we give people an opportunity to work in the councils, doing the job that they're training for at the same time as doing the training. And that again addresses a particular weakness that exists in terms of a lack of people with the right skills. Absolutely.
And we've also had a number of those large businesses have been we're very thankful to them for sponsoring several of our different events and different things going on as well. And I know that between your team and our team, we're looking at how we do that in the future and putting together different packages of support that people can have. So I just wanted to say really how important that is to the university to have the support from those larger businesses to come in and really show their understanding of what we're trying to do at the university, the information we're trying to give out to people, and how we're supporting much wider community than they may be already engaged in.
Yes, and I think it isn't just about a sort of financial request either way, because an example is we work very closely with the football club, FC Sound Football Club, and we sponsor one of the stands there, and we're proud to sponsor the local football club. But outside of that, we're also working with the club on a number of research projects, looking around sports coaching, sports medicine, and utilizing the skills we have within the university to help the club develop its understanding about fitness, and coaching. And that's sort of a broader area, which is not necessarily got a tangible benefit, but helps them improve the way they operate and helps our understanding about how Premier League clubs operate, or how the Premier athletes have to the steps they have to take to keep their performance to such high levels. That helps our understanding when we're teaching our sports coaching, which is one of the courses we have within the university. So there's a very much a sort of a symbiotic relationship with the people who may start with sponsorship, but it soon builds into a much broader area. And another good example is we work with Burgess in town, who helps sponsor the law society, the law centre that we have. Our law students provide advice to people for free on specific areas, and the sponsorship we have from Burgess helps support the development of the law centre. So there's, again, a good symbiotic benefit for the community, for our students, and for the local businesses.
Yeah, and we're very, very thankful for that.
We are, yes.
Absolutely. Sorry, excuse me. Well, thank you for that. I think it's been a really interesting discussion around, and I know it's very hard to go briefly through such a big area of the organisation, really. Would you like to just run through those events that you've got coming up for people just quickly again?
So the big one for us is July the 1st. We're holding a conference at the university, which is called the Business Solutions Conference. And it's about how we, the university, can link with local businesses. And we'll talk more about what we do for our apprenticeships, and talk more about how we will develop the experiential learning for our students to address specific business needs. And that's the big event for us. And we look forward to inviting as many people as we possibly can down to the university.
And can people sign up to that through your web pages?
I think it's going live next week.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Lovely. So keep your eye out for that on those web pages, on the link that was just on the screen, because I think these are fantastic opportunities. And like I said, if it's about not fully knowing how you want to engage in the university, or not fully knowing which person you need to link with, then come along to events like that, because they can really just help guide you in a way that's really going to support your efforts going forward. And like I said before, we've said several times, you can just contact Graeme on the Engage email address as well. And please do so at any point, because he loves an email and he'll get straight back to you, I'm sure.
I look forward to being inundated with requests.
Inundated, absolutely. Why not? Why not? Well, we do, as Graeme mentioned, we do have different research institutes across the university, several of them, in fact, and we're actually speaking to one of them live on session tomorrow. The Institute of Social Justice and Crime will be joining us, as well as Suffolk Law Centre as well. So we're going to be having a bit of a discussion, letting you all know kind of what they get up to, what's going on for them at the moment as well. But if you are interested in our research institutes, please do contact the alumni email address, and we can send you to the right place to get the information on those as well, because it all links up together. And there's some fascinating research going on at the university at the moment. Well, Graeme, is there anything else you would like to tell us about business engagement?
No, I'm very happy to be the point of contact for people who want to work with the university, or just link in with the university in some way, shape or fashion. And use the Engage inbox that we talked about before, and we'll do the best to point you in the right direction.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time talking to our audience. Like I said, we do have another live session tomorrow at 12:30. It will be the last one of Connection Week 2025 as we close. And we're really looking forward to welcoming back our paramedic science graduates tonight for a celebration of 10 years of paramedic science at the University of Suffolk. Yeah. So there's been lots going on this week. We really thank each and every one of you who's got involved, who's watched our sessions, but they are never ending. We will come back to you with all sorts of information. So please do contact the Alumni Relations and Development team with any questions you have about the university, how we can support you ongoing with anything. So please do get in touch, and we will see you tomorrow, hopefully. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.